Well, my name is Bert, and I started gaining weight around 9 when I moved down here from up north to live with my grandmother. Like I said, when you got up to the plate with her, you had a grown man plate no matter how old you were. So that's kind of where it started. And then all through high school, I was pretty big. Then around the 200, 220 mark, then I was blessed and got married. And that's where I packed on the pounds from, working, being a husband. And that's what eventually got me to around 345 to 350. And that was at my max gain from just living life doing that. And I was known as Big Bert because that's who I was.
My name is Jennifer Mazzola, and my struggle with weight and health have always been a part of my life. I can remember being overweight in elementary school and struggling and dealing with my weight in very unhealthy ways in middle school and high school. I would say my most significant issues with health began in my 20s. When I can remember right before Kyle was born, I actually threw out my bag because I'd picked up so much extra weight. I had lost almost all my self-esteem, even though I continued to tell myself I would eventually lose weight. I started every workout program I could think of, every diet. I started a million different times, but I never stuck to anything. At my biggest, which was right after Parker was born, would be about 240 pounds. And I didn't even realize I'd gotten there until the doctor told me on the scale. And even then, I don't know that was enough to get me motivated. I realized my family had been on this journey together when one day in the car I looked at Sal and I said to him, "Why didn't you tell me I was fat?" And he said, "Well, you didn't tell me either." And we both realized that our family had to make a significant change.
What it probably had more to do with just not knowing how to deal with the stress of life in general, whether it's family or job or whatever it is. And, just developing poor eating habits. Restaurants are convenient and nice and easy, and drive-throughs are, kind of unaccountable. You just kind of drive through and slam it down in your car, and you don't have to worry about anything. So I think that is where a lot of the gain came from. And then you're not feeling good, so it turns into an exercise issue or a lack of exercise issue. Health issue with your legs and everything else that goes with it. So, it's a problem that everybody faces, and you just have to kind of look in yourself and figure out how are you going to replace the food.
Well, my unhealthiness really started, at least where I can pinpoint it, probably before high school, but I can definitely pinpoint it to high school, where I was trying to control things because I didn't feel like I had any value, but I felt like if I could control things, then at least I'd have value to myself. And so I didn't feel like I was getting very much attention, so I wouldn't eat. And I actually became very, very skinny, probably in the 80-pound range. And then after high school, it progressed the other direction, and I lost that control, and I just started shoving food down my throat to the point that food became a drug. It made me feel good, and I hated myself every bite, but I wanted more and more and more, and I was out of control, fell into a deep depression, and just so unhealthy in every aspect of my life. Today I can't even imagine going back. So along about year 2000, my dad fell into a coma, and of course I was trying to ease that pain and was shoving more and more in my throat. And after he passed away, I just one day said, enough, I can't do this anymore, and decided that I was going to make a change and to stop the eating and be healthy, but do it in a healthy way. And then not too long after that, in 2001, in September, I found myself in New York on 9/11 and literally watched my life fly before my eyes and realized that I hadn't lived. I had not been living at all. So I was even more and more just inspired to make permanent changes in my life, and that was really the turning point for everything.
The weight loss began when Emma was diagnosed she was 4.5, diagnosed she was pre-diabetic. So as a family, we decided to take the sugar out of our house. So if you got a 350-pound man, you take the sugar out of the house, he's going to lose weight. Of course, that wasn't all of it. I still was eating a lot. We would, we'd go out on Friday nights, get Papa John's pizza, one for me, one for everybody else. I'd eat all mine, and then I'd eat all what they didn't eat. And then it was funny because we was watching Biggest Loser, and after I got done, with the empty box sitting there, and I was like, you know what, this is it. So then I decided there, I was going to do more than just, cut the sugar out. So, and that's where my weight loss started for the better with a membership at the Civic Center, and I did. That's when the weight really started falling off, and then I got back down around 245, and been moving down ever since.
I just had to make a decision whether I wanted to live or whether I was just sitting there waiting to die, which I think I was. So I sat down with Renee and I talked about it, and I decided we had to make changes, and I had to get more healthy, and I had to make a start. So, what does that start look like? It starts with a diet change. It starts with moving, 5 feet here, 10 feet. It starts with, just being accountable. I had to figure out ways to talk about what I was doing, so it was a lot of blog writing and accountability that way, and it's kind of changed into from a diet to just lifestyle change now and a choice. So I make the choices. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but I make the choice, and I work with that from there.
I think first of all I had to realize this was a health issue. I think my whole life I thought it was a body image issue, and that didn't do anything for me. Apparently that wasn't going to be enough to keep me away from sugar and food and to actually get me active. So I started complaining, as I had so many times, but this time I complained to a different person. I complained to Shane Davis, and Shane Davis and Rod Newman and I were sitting there talking about how he really wanted to finally deal with being unhealthy. And he just asked me some very honest questions. I knew that it needed to be for health. I needed to be able to have a better control over what I ate, and I knew that I needed to get healthy because I had back issues and knee problems as well, but I don't think I'd really realized the impact I was having on my kids. Shane actually asked me once, if your kids were running into a street and were about to get hit by a car, could you actually adequately chase them down and help them? It became an issue for me that I was handing down to my kids dysfunctional eating habits and laziness and apathy. So it became much bigger than I just want to get into a certain size, and it became, I've got to change, and this has got to be a change for the rest of my life, not 6 weeks, not 2 weeks, but forever. The benefits to getting healthier, and now I'm down to in the 150s, so almost 100 pounds. What are the benefits? I can get out of bed and know that I'm actually going to be able to get out of bed. I won't have lower back issues. I will actually be able to move. I will actually be able to function. I can play better with my kids. But I think the biggest benefit for me is that my kids are really into this now, and actually you just probably saw Parker do some push-ups. The fact that he knows that that's important for Sal and I every morning, that's something they're going to grow up knowing, that Mom and Dad cared about what we ate, what we drank, and if we got up in the morning we actually were active and moved. I have had to learn that this is a part of my life forever. This isn't going to be a short-term thing. This is something I do forever because healthy is who I want to be.
So today, looking back, I know there's more to good health than losing weight. I was shocked after about 2 or 3 years of weight loss to find myself still depressed and contemplating suicide and actually planning the suicide, and was just amazed that losing all that weight didn't make any difference. And it did make a difference, I see today, but at that moment I didn't see it. But being healthy in body has helped me open my mind and be healthy in spirit and be able to have clear thoughts and to see what's around me and not just think about eating or think about how fat I am or think about all those negative things I was running through my head all the time. But today I can actually work on my spiritual self and still work on my health, my overall health. But today I'm just so much more healthy overall, mind, body, and spirit.
Losing the weight was great, but there's more to it than losing weight and just feeling good. My spiritual growth grew big time when we started coming here, getting plugged in. And then Shane mentioned on Facebook, you guys worked out here at 5:30 every morning doing the Insanity or P90X. I got in with that. Met some really cool people with Doc, for instance. He will hold you accountable every morning, 6 days a week. Crazy it may sound, I look forward to 5:30 every morning. Or just living life, being around people, being happy, helping out. life is really, really good, and I'm thankful every day for being here. I'm glad that God has put me where He's put me, and I'm a happy man today because of that and because of GodWhy, and all the good people that hold me accountable for being a healthy man physically, spiritually, and walking this thing out together every day.
You know, I set a goal for myself to lose 250 pounds by my 50th birthday, which is the end of August. So I pretty much gave myself 53 weeks to get it done. You know, I didn't go out and start walking 6 miles the first day. You know, I walked 10 minutes on the treadmill and got gassed. But the next day I walked 15 minutes, and the day after that I walked 20 minutes. And, you know, I just build up to, you know, where I can do 3 and 4 miles now. And some days I don't feel like walking 5 feet, but I do it. And so it's about reclaiming your health. You know, I've walked a couple 5Ks now. There's one next month I'm going to walk in. There's one at the end of this month. I walked over the bridge in Nashville, which I didn't think that was going to ever happen, and stood there at the top just looking at the city and enjoying things that I couldn't do. You know, it's about moving, and it's about living and reclaiming what you do and what your life is. You have yourself, and you can do it. You just have to push a little bit at a time as long as you're going forward.